Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Surrender. I'm Nick, your host. So happy to be here with all of you. We are on the third session today, which is crazy. I thought I'd maybe do one and then give up, but I'm still having ideas. So we'll just keep going while I have ideas. Okay, today I promised you that I would show you how to do this technique of surrendering, like what it actually looks like, what it's actually capable of doing, what it's done for me. I've shared plenty of stories in the previous sessions, 2 sessions, about how this has impacted me and others, but I'll share a couple more today. And I want to put a disclaimer out there, okay? For those of you thinking, this is the silver bullet that's going to cure and fix everything in my life, in some ways it is, and you'll see what I mean. In other ways, if you're in sales and trying to influence other people in other parts of your life as well, you still need certain skill sets and certain strategies. I'm not telling you to just go dump everything that you were just taught in your offsite with your company or the training that you just bought and watched all the episodes of. Don't do that. What I am saying is keep the parts of that match with this idea of surrendering. Get rid of the other stuff that kind of lowers your level down, which we'll recap here and talk through. And then keep this part in the forefront of your brain. So behind everything you do, there's going to be the surrender process. So without further ado, let's do a quick recap just for those who are new, because you probably see the title and you're like, oh my gosh, millions of dollars, what's that about? And you want to figure out what's the one thing we need to do. So I'll give you one thing you can do that I think will have a huge impact on you. And I won't disappoint you. Well, maybe it will. You might just see it and be like, no way, that's not possible. So this is the definition that I had created as I was thinking about this topic, surrendering, this whole concept of surrendering, detaching, letting go. It's the ability to see the thoughts, emotions, and intents within ourselves, let them go, let the negative ones, just release them. And then on top of that, accept a range of potential outcomes in any given scenario or situation. I made the big, bold statement that there's more success when somebody is surrendering and detaching and letting go than all of the sales and self-help frameworks combined. And I stand by that. And if you're doubtful and skeptical, great. That's a normal reaction. That's what our egos want us to do. They want us to think, no way. We have to struggle. We have to be up to date on every single sales methodology and practice. We have to do all that because otherwise we're not going to be successful. That's not the truth. That is programming that we've gotten throughout our careers and growing up and setting smart goals. And that's just the corporate world and life. Just putting those thoughts in your brain and you buying into it. Now, I'm not saying there's not a place for goals and focus areas. And maybe this surrendering piece will become one of your goals and practices that you want to do every day, one time a day. Who knows? But what I promise and guarantee is that as you practice this daily surrender, if you're a seller, you're going to see bigger and bigger deals like I did. My accounts didn't really change. Some of these big deals were just like mid-market companies. They weren't huge enterprise accounts. You'll see faster deal cycles. I'd mentioned one deal from a cold call to close within 3 months, and it was a multi-million-dollar, multi-year transaction. And I had another one of those as well. So you're going to get faster deal cycles. You're going to resolve personal and customer disputes a lot easier. Things are going to click into place, and you're going to be very surprised how people react and respond around you when you're doing the surrender. Lastly, you're going to feel happy and feel good. Like, who doesn't want to feel happy and good? I was tired of going to work every day saying, well, if this just happens, then I'll feel good about myself and I'll feel happy and I'll feel fulfilled. That is not the way you want to live your life. That's not the reason you want to have to go to work each day. Happiness is a byproduct of you sitting with this stuff that we'll go through today, releasing it from yourself, and moving forward in life. Life is short. We can die at any moment. And why not feel happy and feel good in the meantime? Okay. So, for those who are new, some of this might sound weird. For those who have already listened to the other podcasts, this is going to sound weird too. But just trust me on this. Try it. That's my only ask. Just try it. If it doesn't work, you don't see results, I'm crazy. If it does, and you take note of it and you're like, whoa, what's that? The thing that, yeah, that was the thing he was telling me about. Let me know. Share the word. To give a quick recap, again, there's this universal energy vibration out there that we as humans feel and sometimes can notice. Sometimes it's just subconsciously. And then throughout the universe, essentially, we have energy within us that can, in real time, connect, communicate, receive, and give different levels of energy to people or things or objects around us. And this isn't like cuckoo science or anything. You have plenty of people in this, wow, I can't talk right now, in the realm of quantum physics that have actually documented this, have observed this, that at a subatomic level, you can see this energy, this matter that is like these waves, and it's made up of these little particles that kind of form these waves, and these waves have different frequencies and vibrations that basically create different objects, but also have different kind of ways that they influence everything around us. So a quick example I had given last time was that our emotions and thoughts and feelings, they're actually just these waves, and they come in at different frequencies. So the lower, kind of more negative emotions like shame, guilt, depression, jealousy, those ones have a lower vibration, but things like peace, joy, looking out for others, like a genuine care, kindness towards others, those ones have higher components to them. And I talked about why this matters because that's important to know. I talked about these 3 key levels of consciousness that I then compared to sellers. So inert level of consciousness, these are people that kind of live in this realm of apathetic. They lack interest, they're depressed, they're insecure about their abilities. As a seller, these people don't last that long because they're so scared of being rejected. They tell themselves that people don't want to buy their product, that they're an inconvenience to people. They don't want to make their cold calls. They don't want to do emails because they're scared essentially of how they're going to be perceived, and they don't want to deal with that hard emotion because it'll validate everything that they're thinking in their head. These people usually just kind of repel stuff away from them. Like, they're not closing a lot of business. They're not closing a lot of deals. And on the outside, we might just say, oh, it's because they're not putting in the work and they're not confident. Which, yeah, that's how living in this emotional range manifests externally. That's what it looks like. Energetic is a step above. You get people who are really desirous and jealous and looking out for number one. These are the ones who are like, I'm going to sell at all costs. I'm going to hit the phones 100 dials a day. I'm going to go ahead and like get across the line any way I can. We call this energetic because that's how it looks externally. They're doing a lot of work and they do see success. They have people buy from them, but they do pry on the like fear, uncertainty, doubt with their prospects. They they'll oftentimes just kind of transfer that high excitement and energy that they carry with them to prospects. And if they're influenced really easily, then they can kind of follow suit and get excited about stuff as well and continue forward with a deal with the rep. But the last one is peaceful. This is the state of the person who is able to see win-win situations. They're able to see solutions very quickly and easily. They're very creative. They're able to detach from the outcome. So it's not like the energetic person who says, I'm going on this call because I need to get a demo with them. And then after demo, I need to give them a proposal so that I can get money from them and I can win and I can hit quota and go to President's Club. Like, it's cool to have that ambition and to think about, man, President's Club would be awesome if I went. Oh, it'd be great if this person was a fit and it seemed like they were interested and we could do some business together. That'd be awesome. But we're not jamming it down anybody's throat. So if you want to get more in detail with these and hear some more examples, listen to last podcast, last show. But I'm going to get into right now the process for surrendering and helping you practice this. So if you're listening to this on a commute or you're just listening to it in the background for something to listen to, I don't know why you do that. We can't multitask in our brains. So stop listening, come back later. But I want you to be sure you're in a place where you can try this. And if you need to come back later to try it, just pause it and come back. But I really want you to try this because I'm just so excited to have you experience this. And I'm excited to see what happens as a result for you. All right, before I go there, okay, so I'm going to talk through how to surrender, okay? But just really quick before I do that, everything you struggle with is at the root of some kind of emotional struggle that you have. So that vibrational chart of like the different colors and the different frequencies of your emotions, if there's some kind of emotional struggle that is stuck inside of you somewhere, your thoughts are going to try to rationalize that a bunch. Your thoughts are going to try to figure out, well, why is that there? And you're going to think of more things, which is going to bring up more stuff. And so the process here of surrendering, you don't have to think thoughts about what you're feeling. All you have to do is just notice where it is in you in a non-judgmental state. Just pretend you're standing on the side of the road, you're watching cars drive by, you're saying, oh, there's a red car. Oh, there's a green car. Oh, there's a gold car. Oh, that one's going fast. Oh, that one's going slow. Just no judgment, just observations, okay? The one thing I'll say is that as you're going forward with this process and as you're starting to observe what we'll teach and walk through, you'll notice that your thoughts, they start becoming messengers to you. So they're essentially messengers of your emotions. They reflect your current vibrational state of being, which is caused by your emotions. So any thought you think is pointing you towards an emotion you feel, you should kind of pay attention to it and see what's going on there. So here's the first step, okay? We talked about don't have judgments, just be unconditionally present with the emotion, all right? Now, I talked about how I've had different situations in work and personally. Like for work, for example, there's one time I was feeling incredibly anxious and nervous leading up to a presentation. It was like 3 days out. It was an on-site. I was dying inside. I was like shaking and just like so nervous because it was with the CEO of a company and his executive team across multiple functions, HR, customer experience, operations. And I was like the lone ranger going out there to talk to these people. And my thoughts were just going and going and going. And I was just avoiding it as much as possible. Now, eventually, it got to a point where I said, okay, I've prepped as much as I can. I like me just sitting in this place and worrying is not going to help. I thought of this practice. I was able to run through it and surrender. And the meeting went amazing. Like it was one of the best on-sites I've had. Literally within the first 10 minutes, the CEO said, "We really like this. When are we going to get started?" I had barely said anything or shown anything. So when we get started, the way you do this is you're going to go ahead and get into a comfortable position and you're just going to relax your body. One way I do this is I take 3 deep breaths, like through my stomach, through my diaphragm, breathe out the mouth, and I breathe in through the nose really deep. And as I breathe out, I kind of imagine like a wave from the top of my head all the way down to my toes. This might feel weird because you've maybe never really been in tune with your body. And so when you sit there and you breathe and you kind of focus on just every part of your skin and body all the way from the top to the bottom, that might feel weird, but that's okay. Just take a few breaths, kind of let those waves go over you. Another thing that I'll do is usually our jaws and our face get really tense. And so I like to focus on my jaw. And I just imagine my jaw, the muscles all around it just kind of turn into jello. So as I'm breathing, I kind of visualize like my jaw turns into jello and it's just kind of like all that tightness just kind of flows down my body, out my toes, out my fingertips. And same thing with my forehead and my eyes, because you like squint, you make weird faces. I do all the time. And it's only when I get into these surrender moments where I become aware and I say, oh man, my face was like so tense. So just notice your face, notice where there's any tightness, and just let that go. Same with your jaw. Okay. And then the last place I look at is my neck. Just kind of think of my neck, my shoulders, just kind of naturally let my shoulders fall. And I just relax and I just imagine that tension going from the body. Now, this is where the rubber hits the road. While you're in this state, I want you to bring something up you want to let go of, that you want to surrender. Could be a thought, could be an event, could be a behavior. It could be a desire, that desire that your client signs the paper before the end of the quarter because we really need this deal. We really, really need it. That desire could be one. Oh man, I really don't want to talk to my manager because I'm not doing well on my PIP plan and it's going to be a horrible conversation and I'm just dreading it. That could be something to let go of. Oh man, I just started this business and I'm trying to get people interested and I want people to, see a lot of success with this. That could be one you let go. Okay, just think of something. Could be work related, not work related. Now, focus on that thing and immediately scan your body and tune into how you feel. Is there resistance anywhere? Do you feel something in your body? That's what I like looking for first. Like, oh, wow, my neck's really tense. Or, oh, my stomach is really tight right now. Or, oh, my left foot just got really like tingly and pins and needles. I don't know why that's happening. Just focus on where that's at. After you had that thought of that thing that you want to let go of. Okay. Now, right now, you don't have to give it a name. If you are pretty self-aware and you know, oh yeah, that's sad, or that's anger, or that's feeling frustrated, or that's feeling desperate, you can give it a name if you want. But again, it's not bad or good. Okay. No judgment. You're just noticing this thing happening. Again, try to figure out where it is in your body. Just see if it's in your head, neck, arms, legs. Be very specific about this emotion. So you can say this out loud, okay? Or you can say it in your head. But you could say, well, I have this burning sensation around my eyes. Or, ooh, I have this cold, like stream around my belly and my chest area. You could say, it feels like I have a huge chain pulling down my shoulders. It's going all the way up through my neck, just hanging there. Okay, the more descriptive, the better. Give it a color, give it a shape if you want, give it a name. Now, this is going to be the hard part for some of you. Just fully feel that sensation in your body and be totally present with it. Try not to think about anything else. If you think another thought that comes in your head, just tell it to come back later. You'll think about it later and just kind of let it go. I just want you to think about that specific feeling you're having in that part of your body. Some of you are going to start feeling this and say, whoa, this is kind of weird. You can sense it there. Now, if you keep noticing it, something interesting is going to happen. One of three things. One, it's either going to move positions. So sometimes I'll notice like my forehead's really tight, and then I'll feel that sensation kind of go down to my neck or my throat, and I'll feel it tight there. And then I'll notice that for a couple minutes, and then I'll kind of notice it go to my chest, and I'll eventually just kind of feel it go through my whole body and leave. And there's some kind of relief. So that's one thing that could happen, is it just kind of changes positions. I want you to stay with it. Again, just take some breaths while you're doing this. Deep breaths in the nose, out the mouth. No judgments. Be nice to yourself. Remember, it's just energy. It's just different little strings at an atomic level of vibration that are just kind of stuck in different parts, muscles, nerves, and organs in your body. Just focus on where it's at. The second thing that could happen is it could be getting stronger to the point where it's really uncomfortable. That's okay. That's normal. You might even feel like you want to cry. That's okay. That's normal. Right? So again, just to recap, you thought about something that you wanted to let go of, a desire, a feeling, an argument you had with somebody that made you feel mad, a deal that you feel like has to close, or else. You noticed where that feeling then came up when you thought about that. You just describe that feeling, give it as much description as possible. Oh, it's in my big toe on my left foot, and it feels like a little baby crocodile is like biting on it, just like clamping down this heat and this pressure. Okay, no judgment, just think to yourself or say it out loud, then stick with it. Notice if it's moving. Notice if it's getting bigger or stronger, heavier, more intense. Or the third option is you feel some kind of release. Okay. Again, the point here, you want to just relax into it. Just try to focus on that one part of your body and relax everything else in your body. You're going to stay there until you feel a sense of relief or just something fading away. Now, I would be surprised if on your first try, that's exactly what happens. Usually, there's multiple levels to an emotion. So the sensation you just felt may change into a different sensation. So you might have felt that tightness in your shoulders and then it kind of went tight into your stomach. But then it might feel just like a jab in your leg, or maybe it just feels like nauseous, or there might be something different that's not super tight and it might just kind of change into a different sensation. So just be noticing that. Again, no judgment. It's okay if you keep getting those thoughts coming into your brain. That's your ego trying to get you not to focus and concentrate on this. You just tell your brain to, you'll come back to it later. You're not leaving it out of the process. Now, I'm not going to wait the whole time until you finish. Sometimes this takes a minute, could take 5 minutes, or even 20 minutes. Just breathe and be present. For those of you who do some kind of meditation or prayer, it'll probably be easier for you because this is kind of a normal process that you might do daily or weekly. You just got to sit, be present with it. And then when the emotion is fully resolved and you feel like just a sense of peace throughout your whole body, that's when you can kind of slowly come back, open your eyes. Okay. And just sort of notice how you feel. Notice the weight that feels lifted from whatever that thing was that you're holding on to, that you're keeping like tightly within you, within your mind, or within your intentions. You'll feel that it's just released. Now, another tip I'm putting up here on the screen to rinse and repeat. You can do this as many times as you need. Like you might finish up with this and then literally within the next hour, you start noticing it's coming back up, or you start noticing something else is coming up strongly. That's very normal. Now that you're aware of it, you're going to notice this a lot more. Now, you're not going to be able to just surrender all the time because you got work to do. You're going to be on calls. You're going to be doing this. I kind of like chunking it out based on core activities. So if I know that I'm going to be going into prospecting for an hour, and there's any inkling of me that feels desperate, or if there's any inkling of me that feels nervous or afraid, or if there's any inkling of me that thinks, oh man, I'm so bad at this, or it's not going to be good, any kind of thoughts like that, you got to sit with those. So sit with those, just like we did here. Same thing with like, if you got a big presentation coming up, big demo, you need to also maybe take 10 minutes to sit with it. Okay. So if you're doing this once a day, that's great. If you do it 2 or 3 times a day, that's amazing. All right. This isn't something that you can dedicate all your time to every day. Like, we can't go live in Tibet and sit on a mountaintop and do it. I mean, you can if you want to, but we've got jobs and we're trying to do stuff in our lives. Maybe that's different than that. And so that's what I'll say is just kind of some guidance, I guess. All right. Now you're going to know you're done, again, when you kind of feel that peaceful sensation, usually the mind will let you know you're done. And when it lets you know you're done, that means you're not done. So keep going. Remember, if you feel the sensation in your body of like that peaceful, calm sensation, you're done. But if your mind's saying, all right, that was enough. Yeah, I feel better. We're good. That's usually a sign that you're not done. So keep going. Keep noticing. Keep expressing what it looks like, describing that emotion, just kind of notice where it goes. Okay. All right. Another way you can know if you successfully surrendered is you're no longer thinking about the thing that you were thinking about getting into the session. You might not really have a memory of the emotion that you worked on. And maybe you can't even remember like the physical sensation that you had. You might not have any more of the same thoughts that led you to that emotion. So if it's like prospecting, I'm thinking, oh man, I'm such a bad prospector. Like people aren't going to answer. I'm going to be annoying. You won't be having any more of those thoughts. That's a way to know if you've done it. And then the last thing I would say is like you stop experiencing events that kind of trigger that emotion inside of you. So you might be able to go into prospecting on the phone and feel like, hey, I feel pretty calm about this. Like when I go do prospecting now, like I'm not feeling that intense emotion with it anymore. Okay. So here's some warnings. All right. Like I mentioned before, your mind and your ego is going to tell you that this technique is too simple and it's not going to work. But that's just your mind knowing that you're on to something. All right. So think about that. This actually reminds me, if you've ever seen the movie Osmosis Jones with Bill Murray, where it's like the little bacteria and I don't know what they all are, but the things that live inside this guy's body, it's like a cartoon, but also like part real life movie. In his brain, it's interesting because it totally captures this, where he thinks, oh yeah, I'm gonna like do a diet. I'm gonna get healthier. And the little cartoons in his brain are like, oh, whoa, 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 what's going on here? Whoa, we can't do that. We got to stay the same. That's a threat to us. We can't do that. We got to keep this ship running straight. And we're not going to let them do this new thing. That's exactly what your brain's going to be doing with this process. Another warning is, again, you're going to feel good after this. Your body's going to feel peaceful, and you're going to kind of forget. I don't know how to explain it. You're going to kind of forget that it even happened. And you're going to make excuses as to why you don't need to do it again. And you'll know what I mean when it happens, but you'll experience that sensation and then you'll just kind of feel it let go. You'll kind of go throughout your day, maybe have something else come up, but you're going to find excuses and reasons not to do it. You'll kind of forget the value and utility of doing it and sitting down. The other thing is you're going to start feeling empty and free the more that you practice. Now, this is scary for some people because feeling empty, like, wow, I don't have to think a million miles an hour right now, and I don't feel like I'm going to throw up because I'm so nervous. That state of chaos, people get used to that. In a way, we like it. We try to find moments to recreate that and make that drama in our lives. So not having that is going to feel foreign, and your body and brain are going to be like, see, this is weird. We shouldn't do this anymore. So be aware of that. Trying to think if there's any other ones. Oh yeah. Along with that, and well, I'll say two things. Along with that, if you start feeling empty and different, you're going to maybe try to do things to fill that void. So you might just feel like, man, I'm going to go binge on Netflix right now, or I'm going to go drink, or I'm going to go have sex, whatever it is. You just kind of got to be aware that you're going through a different transition here and trying something new, and you're going to have this weird gap, and you're going to try to stuff it with stuff. Just try to resist that urge. Like, just try to sit and just be in that state of surrenderedness. The along those lines, the last thing I will say is, actually, no, I'm going to share it later. We're good. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you could kind of feel a little bit of that sensation that we talked about, of kind of the wave, we'll call it a wave, and just tell me what happens. I want you to just observe, just notice what happens. Again, we do this not with the intention of, well, yeah, now something's got to happen. We do it because it's the right thing and it's good for us. And then stuff starts falling into place. So just keep an eye out for that. I'm excited to have you experience it for yourselves. And I'm going to record a session right after this one. That's just going to be a podcast. And actually, no, I'll probably do a video as well. And it's going to be a 15-minute guided surrender session. So you can listen to it whenever you want and get into flow and experience it whenever you need to. That's it. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for trying this experiment with me. And I just know it's going to work. I have seen it so many times, and I know you're going to see something happen. So that's it. Thank you, and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.